Daniel is getting ready to do James Casbolt Part 2. This should be interesting.
The Edge is a paid program.
By the way, you might want to keep your M16 ready, those of you who are armed and prepared, in case there's a alien-human war, intergalactic war. And talking about that, bringing him back on the line, is former MI6 agent, knowledgeable spokesperson about the underground bases and their existence, is James Casbolt. James, welcome back.
Hello, Daniel.
Well, it's a very serious matter discussing children, because I'm sure that is near and dear to everyone's heart. And when it first came across my desk that there was somebody mentioned children, when I thought it was all fun and games talking about the aliens, and we can talk about the grays and the greens and the praying mantis type and the shapeshifters, but then somebody threw children in the mix, and all of a sudden I thought, I had a different sort of outlook about it. And I want to say, well, wait a minute now. Is there verification? Has anybody ever retrieved their child from the grips of these aliens?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like you say, Daniel, this is not a joke. This is serious business. There's a massive number of children that go missing every year in Britain and America. This is happening all over the world. According to the figure in Britain, the official figures seem to be around 10 to 20,000 children disappear without a trace every year. Now, if that's the official figures, you can bet that it's a lot higher than that. The classified figures that the intelligence agencies use are the real figures. In 1995, a classified CIA, DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, and FBI report, like I say, the classified figures are the real figures. It stated that 100,000 children and 1 million adults disappear every year in the U.S. and are never found. I mean, you may ask yourself, how is this being covered up in the mainstream media? But as we've talked about before, the same people that are involved in this, MI6, CIA, usual people, the usual suspects, control the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. It's in 1989, it was over a 3-year period in Westchester, in New York. Over 3,000 missing children reports surfaced. This was the site of numerous UFO overflights and reports of human abductions at that time. I think after extensive investigation by local police departments, the children weren't found. They looked for them at runaway centres, red light districts, and they weren't found. The officials were baffled. They were put on the front of the milk cartons. Posters were pinned up on lampposts. Like I say, they weren't found.
By the way, James, we have a friend over there in England by the name of Tom who says he really appreciates the Edge and the fact that you're coming on. He also appreciates the fact that the Edge has all different type of subject matter. Tonight we're talking about underground bases and the alien presence there. Are they gathering to underneath the ground? Are they just conducting their experiments, or do they have communications to another part of the universe to where they're going to signal them at a certain time and call them to invade the Earth on topside?
I believe, from what I can gather, I believe they don't invade outright. I believe it's a covert operation. I believe they infiltrate a host society on the surface. I believe many people are being abducted and having genetically manipulated, having reptilian DNA put in them. Mm-hmm. I believe, and this is confirmed from naval intelligence reports that I've seen, they say that Department of Navy field agents, Department of Navy isn't the U.S. Navy, it's this United Nations One World Government Navy. Department of Navy field agents are involved in extensive monitoring and surveillance of individuals who were unknowingly, because of the implants which wipe the memories of the abductions, they're unknowingly being used in an ongoing genetic program by competing extraterrestrial races. Now what seems to be happening is the reptilians and greys from Orion are actually subverting the military, the political, the industrial complexes, and they're putting reptilian DNA in people. And I believe it's happening. It's coming into the private sector. What seems to be happening is the reptilians and greys are abducting people, doing these genetic programs, putting their reptilian DNA in them, and then the positive ET races. These are from the Pleiades, Andromeda, Lyra, Procyon, Tau Ceti, Sirius A, Umo. These seem to work together in some sort of protective federation. They're coming behind the reptilians, taking the same people, taking the reptilian DNA out of them, and putting the Pleiadian, etc., DNA inside them.
Whoa.
And these are the so-called star children. This is happening to.
Really? Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. On the star children issue, do they mark these so-called star children in any way?
I'm not sure, Daniel. I'm not sure. I know people have had scars on them and marks on them. That seems to be more from the reptilian grey abductions. But like I say, Daniel, that's why the Naval Intelligence report said these individuals who are being monitored by Department of Navy field agents,
James, hold on,
are being used in these people are being used in a competing genetic program between positive and negative ETs.
All right, James, how many people do you think are either star children, have been abducted, or being tracked with implants? What is the worldwide estimate that you may have?
According to figures from the Roper report, which is in a third generation report now, which is by the RAND Corporation, which is involved in the building these underground bases. The listeners can research this themselves on the internet. And according to naval intelligence documents I've seen, it seems to be as high as around 1 in 15, 1 in 20 are star children, and are being abducted by positive and negative groups competing with each other. And these people are also being abducted by the military, because the military technology is far in advance of anything we see in the public domain. It's we can talk about treaties that, and give the listeners some history about what's actually going on here, so they can research this themselves. On February the 20th, 1954, a delegation from these positive ET groups, from the Pleiades, Andromeda, Lyra, etc., a delegation from these groups met with the Eisenhower administration, and this was in an unsuccessful effort. This was to reach an agreement on the U.S. thermonuclear weapons program. This agreement didn't work. It stumbled. The negotiations stumbled because these ETs, they weren't willing to provide technology that might have been used by the military-industrial factions of the Eisenhower administration. These are peace-loving ETs, and they refuse to be co-opted into the emerging military-industrial extraterrestrial complex. It's actually called MIAC, Military-Industrial Extraterrestrial Complex. That's what it's called, with the military, government, and the Greys and reptilians working together in the underground bases. It's called MIAC.
James, let me ask you, you said that there's a possibility of 1 out of 15, maybe 1 out of 20 people, then could I assume, say, if I lived in a block of 100 people, 5 of those would have either be star children or being tracked by aliens?
Yeah, probably both. You see, the aliens and the military are very interested in the star children now, and yes, it would be that number.
Mm. Do these underground bases also have intergalactic sort of space ports where a ship could go down and land? Does it travel through the planet down a giant hole rather than just a hole for say like a train? Are there more giant portholes going down that motherships could go down inside?
To be honest, I don't have that information, Daniel.
Okay, James, when you said that you saw documents from the Navy and other military industrial complex and apparatus, do you like call someone up and they say, "Come over here, I have a document"? Do they bring the documents to your house? How do you see these documents?
They've been sent to me. They get sent through the post. They get sent to my email account.
And how can you verify their authenticity?
From my research, I believe them to be genuine, and from my experiences, I believe they're genuine.
Mm-hmm. You think it's possible that the United States or anyone has the capability of their own self-designed UFOs to follow these extraterrestrials outside into different universes or wherever they go? Have we ever tried to pursue them or track them and know where they are?
I know the military technology is highly advanced, but I'm not sure if they've ever followed, if the military, U.S., British military, have ever followed them into outer space. I don't have that information.
James, we have dozens of questions. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of them, so hopefully we'll try to get through most of them if we can. This writer says they've seen reports of over 190 UFO sightings in the past 3 months in Van Buren, Arkansas. Is there a base out there?
I'm not sure if there's a base out there. Like I said, there's 131 bases in the U.S. Dotted around the United States. I don't have the location of every one. I know that there's huge UFO signs all around the world now. There's huge numbers in Mexico, over Mexico City. I've seen the DVDs of them. There's thousands of craft above Mexico City.
Have you seen
in the last year?
Okay.
The Mexican people have actually accepted what's going on.
Really?
There's not mass panic. I believe this is from these positive extraterrestrials from the Pleiades, etc.
Yeah. We're getting ready to go to break here, James, so you'll hear the music in just a second. When we do, just stay on the line, please. Have you seen Dan Aykroyd's DVD on UFOs?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because it seemed to have a lot of the Mexican videos. It actually has a lot of video of other UFOs. I thought I saw all the UFO footage, but there's way more footage out there than we've ever seen on, say, Unexplained Mysteries here in this country on shows like that. I wonder if they select videos for television to be the more ridiculous-looking ones, let's say like where somebody's holding the line sort of to diffuse the idea that they even exist, that most of them are hoaxes. Do you think that there's reverse psychology going on?
Definitely, Daniel, without a doubt. The mainstream media is being controlled by these same groups that are involved in this alien agenda, and they're involved in a very complex disinformation campaign.
James, why would an alien track anyone to begin with, let alone on a scale of 1 to 15? Well, we've got to go to break here. We'll just hold on to that thought and try to answer the question. The question is, why would they track them? James, stay on the line. And welcome back to the Edge radio broadcast. My name is Daniel Ott. My. You're hearing it first here on the Edge radio broadcast. Jane Casbolt talking about the underground basis, the aliens, the Greys, the children abductions. I want to bring him back on the line. Here we go. James, welcome back to the program.
Hi, Daniel.
Well, we're talking about the aliens underground, and I've got dozens of questions here. As I said, I don't know if I can get to them, but as I said before we went to break, why is it that they're tracking anyone?
With the Greys putting the implants in people, it's not so much that they want to track them. Those implants seem to be mind control implant, memory erasure implants. They actually block the memories of the abductions. They don't want the people remembering what's happened, because the truth will get out. And like I say, the Greys and the reptilians, they covertly infiltrate a planet and subvert the population slowly over a period of thousands of years. It's actually the military implants that track people. And when I say the military, I don't mean the whole of the British military or the whole of the US military in on it. I mean, usually, as regards to the alien phenomenon, it's the United Nations military, and it's the upper levels of the British and US military. The British and US military, the United Nations military, have got this super advanced technology that's more advanced than anything seen in the public domain. And the reason they've got this is because they've signed treaties. They've done treaties with the Greys and the reptilians. Mm-hmm. On July the 11th in 1934, the first treaty with the Greys from Orion occurred aboard a naval ship in Balboa. And this was one of the most important events in human history, because it thrust humanity into a role that we weren't prepared for as regards to being a host to a malevolent extraterrestrial race. The US federal government, they disregarded the Constitution of the United States by doing this and not telling the people. On this naval ship in Balboa, the agreement was first made between the Greys, representing the reptilians from Orion, and representatives of the US intelligence community. This treaty stated that in return for the Greys providing high technology, which was anti-gravity technology, metals and alloys, environment technology, free energy and medical technology, the government would allow the Greys to proceed unhindered with human abductions. But this was only if a list of abductees was provided to the government and the abductees returned unharmed with their memories of the events erased. There was actually 4 extensions of this treaty signed in 1944, 10 years later. The agreement was every 10 years they'd renew the treaty. In 1944, the second extension of the treaty was signed. In May 1954, again under the Eisenhower administration, the third extension of this treaty was signed, and this treaty was called the Greater Treaty. The reptilians and the Greys, they blatantly broke the terms of this treaty. They abducted a lot more people than they provided on the lists to the government, and many of these people weren't returned unharmed. They were permanently abducted, and many of them were used again for the lymphatic harvesting of the lymphatic glands. The Greater Treaty in 1954 in May was actually agreed upon at the Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. This was between the Greys and the Ultra Unit in the National Security Agency. The original document of this treaty and the ET materials from the treaty, they're at the National Security facility called Blue Moon, and this is underneath Kirkland Air Force Base in New Mexico. the entrance to this underground base is in the Manzano Mountains. There's also at this location is the technological base of the Department of Energy, and free energy devices from this grey and reptilian technology are being built for use in space at the Department of Energy base. And the last extension of this particular treaty, there's actually been others signed since this, but the last extension of the Greada Treaty was on April the 15th in 1964. And this was 2 intelligence personnel met with the Greys again in the New Mexico desert. This project was classified Project Plato. They actually met these 2 intelligence personnel met the Greys in the New Mexico desert to actually arrange another meeting for the April the 25th at the Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico. And this meeting was to renew the treaty. But now, the fourth renewal of this treaty, the intelligence communities had broke into panic factions that were warring against each other because of the situation was so horrendous. And this extension of the treaty was a psychological bid to buy time in order to solve the problems of the Greys and the reptilians.
Well, there's no problem that a good nuke won't solve. James, how is it that we even make agreements with them? Do we have a choice? I mean, all we've got to do is say no, and they're going to hit us with the death ray, right?
Maybe I'll probably have to speculate on this, Daniel. Maybe the government thought, we'll agree to this because they're more technologically advanced than us. If we don't agree to it, they're going to do it anyway. We might as well buy some time. We might as well buy some time. And this technology that the governments have got, they're actually developing positive factions of the government, like I say, Com-12, Naval Intelligence, developing these weapons to fight these beings. I mean, we're being lied to at every turn by the government. For instance, the Cold War between America and Russia, that was a complete fabrication. It was feigned animosity. The Russian, British, and U.S. government at the upper levels are the best of friends because they've become blood brothers because of the treaties that were signed and because of the alien agenda. It was told to the people that America said, well, we have to develop thermonuclear weapons in case Russia attacks us. And Russia said, we have to develop the same in case America attacks us. This was lies. At the upper levels, they were cooperating together. They were developing the thermonuclear weapons program as a last resort attempt in case if the Greys and reptilians couldn't be pried away from the planet.
Really? James, by the way, Teresa from Collierville, Tennessee says that she's seen UFOs, and if you're ever down there, she'd love to cut your hair and talk about it. So that's Teresa from Collierville. We've got numbers of other questions. Let's get to some of these, Dave. Are there any rumored underground installations in the New England state area of the United States that you know of? Because we always hear about them out west. What about the New England area?
I don't have the information on that, Daniel. I'm not sure. The Phil Schneider material, the lectures that he did before he was murdered, they're available at videogoogle.com. Just type in Phil Schneider, and he mentions where many of them are in the U.S.
Okay. We have this additional second part. Do you believe that these ETs might be the locus of the Book of Revelations that swarm the ground and inflict pain and death on the humans for a number of months?
Yes, I believe many things in Revelations is actually what's going on now, the end times, New World Order, and the aliens. Yeah, I do believe that. I believe that the Dulce facility, the biogenetics facility in New Mexico, is the den of iniquity that was talked about in the Bible. I believe that's what they were talking about. At the Dulce base, this is one of the most horrendous bases with the activities that are going on there. Two researchers, Bill Hamilton and Tal Levesky, they received reports from the workers at the Dulce underground base in New Mexico in the mid-1970s, and this was when it was being jointly run by the CIA and the Greys and the Reptilians. Again, the MIAC, the military-industrial extraterrestrial complex. This was actually before the ETs completely took the base over and kicked the humans out. These workers said at this Dulce facility, the Dulce facility goes down at least 7 levels. Again, size of a city, underground. Level 6 is privately called Nightmare Hall amongst workers. They told of the horrific experimentation going on, multi-legged humans that looked half human and half octopus, reptilian humanoids, furry creatures with hands like humans that cry like a baby and they mimic human words. They said they saw, a huge mixture of lizard humans in cages, several cages of winged humans, which they said were 3.5 to 7 feet tall. They also saw bat-like creatures, gargoyle-like beings. They said in level 7.
Sounds like a freak show.
The den of iniquity that as prophesied about in the Bible. In level 7, thousands of rows of human and human genetic mixtures in cold storage. Human embryo storage vats with embryos in various stages of development. Other workers said they witnessed scenes even more terrifying than this and refused to talk about them. I won't pull no punches. I believe it was rows and rows of caged children there, as G saw in the underground base at Los Alamos. Thomas Costello, I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, I've seen his writings. There's a lot of that on the internet. James, these underground bases, are they still creating them, or were these things built before time? Are they still? Do they have like a underground base building program? What's going on with that?
They've been built, and the numbers have been increased since the first treaty in 1933 with the Greys. And the intelligence community are on board that naval ship in Balboa. It's been, and like I say, it's the MIAC, the military-industrial extraterrestrial complex, working together. As I said before, not the whole of the military, but certain levels of the military. Like I say, we're talking about Thomas Costello. He's one of the security workers at the Dulce facility. He worked 7 years for the RAND Corporation, California. He was transferred to Dulce in 1977. He estimated there was more than 18,000 short greys at Dulce. And he also saw reptilians there. He said that security is so heavy there. Yeah. It's he knew of 7 levels, but he said there could have been more. Now, he said that every level you go down, the security clearance increases. And he said that he said the aliens are on level 5, 6, and 7 at Dulce. And the personnel there are weighed naked and given a uniform, and all entry to sensitive areas where the aliens are, there's scales in front of it, and your weight has to match your identity card. Really? And if there's a change in weight around 3 pounds, because they don't want people smuggling evidence out internally in their bodies, people are X-rayed.
Yeah. James, just a few quick questions here, then we need to go to break again, final break. Are the aliens running out of time, according to their ability to reproduce, or is there an upsurge in abductions for some reason? Is there urgency to the alien agenda, or are they just going by a meticulous schedule?
I believe there's an urgency. Yes, I believe the Greys and the reptilians are in a panic. I believe, as prophesied about once again in the Bible, Satan will take his last stand on earth, and the forces of light and darkness will line up against each other, and the forces of light will prevail. I believe this is what's happening now. I also believe that from these beings that have materialized in my house and channeled communications to me while in a trance, they say that these Pleiadian beings, they've been involved in an ancient war with the reptilians from Orion, and they've pushed them back into this corner of the galaxy, and this is their last stand in this corner of the galaxy on this planet, and they're on their last legs.
Really?
So this situation is horrendous, but I don't want the listeners to panic. I think we're going to win this. I think we're headed to an age of light and love that has never been seen before.
What's the best way for someone to protect themselves against an alien abduction?
I've been able to protect myself from alien abductions. I've woke up paralyzed with a dark being figure in the room. I've been able to break the paralysis by praying.
Okay.
Prayer.
Okay. All right.
Prayer seems to be, because we're not going to beat them with technology.
Really?
Prayer seems to be the way.
Is the national ID card in any way connected to alien tracking of humans? Are they going to have access to that database, you think?
I believe so. I believe, once again, the military, government, working with the Greys and the reptilians, they're exchanging information and technology. I believe so, Daniel, yes.
Well, it's interesting you say that prayer works against them, so you're saying that there must be some sort of overarching spiritual power that can subdue the alien agenda. Yeah,
without a doubt. This has been proved beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Really? What do you think about we got to go to break. I tell you, you think about it later, whatever. You try to tune into my mind what we're going to ask. Stay tuned. Stay on the line. Everybody, you're listening to James Casbolt, and we're talking about underground bases. James Casbolt, former MI6 agent, worked in the Black Ops. He has come from a long line of intelligence people. So you stay tuned for the final segment of this interview. If you've missed any of this interview, go to the edgeam.com website tomorrow, where you can access this audio archive for free, which is one of the reasons this show has been propelled to number one, simply because we haven't stuck our hand out to give you such valuable information. And welcome back to the Edge radio broadcast. My name is Daniel Lott, and on our newsmaker line, all the way from Cornwall, England, and sounding very good through our VoIP line, is James Casbolt. James, welcome back to the program.
Hello, Daniel.
Well, I can see we're not going to get to a lot of these questions we have. They've been coming in all week, and then we've got pounced to just dozens of them in here tonight, so we'll just try to go through them real quickly. And try to keep your answers short, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. Do you believe that the government officials, such as Tony Blair and George Bush, are cooperating with the aliens, or are they putting together a plan to fight them?
I believe Tony Blair and George Bush are puppets. I'm not exactly sure what they've been briefed on as regards to the alien agenda, but I definitely believe that someone above them is pulling their strings. Let's talk a little bit about the Omega Agency. This is the leading intelligence agency for the New World Order, One World Government. They plan to bring about a quick official formation of the One World Government within 5 days, which is their plan. George Bush Sr. is on the committee of the Omega Agency. It's based at Langley Air Force Base in America, and according to Nario Hayakawa, which is one of the most respected UFO researchers in the world. He's appeared on the Prophecy Club and Japanese television. He claims, he was claiming this in 1995, that the New World Order will be a four-staged engineered event by the Omega Agency in conjunction with the ETs. Remember, he said this in 1995. He said it will all start with a Russian-backed Arab Confederacy invasion of Israel. That's how it will start.
Interesting. Well, that's lining up real nicely.
Followed by a international stock market collapse. Again, these are engineered events to create chaos and bring about the quick official formation of a one world government, so they can clamp the people into a totalitarian vice, and so have total control, so they won't have to tell us about the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
The third event will be harp-engineered earthquakes, simultaneous, all around the world. They'll top it all off. Fourth event will be Project Panic, Project Bluebeam, a staged fake contact landing, maybe on the news, which the United Nations will pretend that they're in first contact situation with an ET race, which will be a lie, because they've been working with them at least from 1933 in the underground bases. And this will be the excuse to have a quick official formation of a one world government within 5 days. This is what the Omega Agency plan. And they plan to, this could bring about us, put millions into a stupor, which then they plan to bring about a complicated high-level mind control program to calm down the stunned population. So people need to be aware of what's going on.
James, considering this is from the Fast Blast, considering you know about underground bases and alien technology, would you give credence to the information Paul Benowitz forwarded to the U.S. Air Force regarding the Achilles heel of the aliens and how we can defeat them?
I would give credence to that, definitely. Why was Paul Benowitz taken away and had electroshock done to him? Because he was exposing the truth. You know, the CIA always use electroshock on people, so do MI6. It's to, if the person's had electroshock done to them, they can't put 10 sentences together clearly, so nobody's going to listen to them.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen yourself any of the reptilians or any alien shapeshift? Yes,
I've had abduction experiences with reptilians. I woke up paralyzed. There was a reptilian form in my room. I was able to break the paralysis and the reptilian disappeared. I was wide awake. I was wide awake for about 2 minutes trying to scream, but no sound would come out. A reptilian again phased into my bedroom when I was awake. Materialized into my bedroom. I was terrified, and I've got symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder from this. If a person witnesses these beings, they're not going to be in a very healthy state mentally. It will cause trauma. Like I say, I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. I've been diagnosed with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm getting help with it, and I'm being healed.
Mm-hmm.
But most people have got post-traumatic stress disorder from these experiences, and these experiences are very common.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe here in the United States, and maybe even there in England, that in any way our televangelists are being used to brainwash any of the masses?
Yes, I do believe that. I've Billy Graham. You know Billy Graham?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's got connections into the CIA. According to my information, he's involved in CIA drug trafficking operations, and he launders CIA drug money for his Christian operation.
Billy Graham is involved
Billy
in drug
Graham.
running?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, by the way, listener says there's a Dr. Roger Lear here in the United States in the San Francisco area who's the foremost expert in implant removal. Were you familiar with Dr. Lear's work?
I've come across his work, not in great detail, but I'd like to see an expert like Dr. Lear to see if my implants can be removed or deactivated or what.
Mm-hmm. Here, a listener wants you to comment on the ultimate goal of the alien agenda. What is the final outcome? What is the end-all, end-all for the alien agenda?
Okay. It's the reptilians and greys have been subverting the population for thousands of years. It's a long-term genetic plan. The greys and the reptilian agenda is to slowly and covertly take over the planet in the next 30 years, reduce the population by 90%, by these diseases, AIDS, Ebola. The AIDS, Ebola diseases are actually, and this is according to Phil Schneider, the organs taken from the greys and reptilians mixed with human and animal organs to create these diseases. You've got to understand the greys and reptilians are highly toxic to our system. They've got different DNA. Actually being in contact with a grey, they're highly radioactive to us. You can have radiation poisoning from being in contact with a grey. Now, I believe this is why Hannah Billups had the radiation poisoning, because of her contact with the grey that tried to stick the needle in her stomach. When the MIAC, the military, work with the greys, they wear spacesuits, the silver protection suits from radiation. Mm-hmm. But like I say, these diseases are being created by the MIAC. They want to reduce the population over the next 30 years, run the planet from underground, using the surface population as food to be taken when and how they wish. The British and Russian US government is shooting down at least one and grey reptilian craft a month with these particle beam weapons.
Shouldn't we see the wreckage or see the blast?
It's, I don't know if you've seen the secret NASA transmissions video. That's available. There's a craft on there that's taken by NASA's shuttle that's next to the Earth's atmosphere, that's going along, and actually stops. A particle beam shoots out the atmosphere, and this craft reverses and gets out the way of it. Mm-hmm.
James?
This is real footage from NASA. It's called the secret NASA transmissions, the raw footage.
Really?
The Russians, they've got areas the size of football fields full of crashed ET craft. I mean, if this isn't a full-scale invasion, then I don't know what is.
James, our servers are indicating that a large amount of people are logging onto the site listening to the show. Can you stay? We're supposed to be off the air in 5 minutes. Is it possible for you to stay another half hour?
Yeah, I could do.
Okay, because we're going to lose some.
No problem, Daniel.
Yeah, at 10 here, we'll lose some of our affiliates, those who broadcast the show for 2 hours, but those listening by the internet worldwide can continue to listen. And then we'll appreciate that if you stay on the line, because we have so many questions. I feel so bad if I don't ask some of these other questions. Have been pouring into the website. An immense interest in what you're saying about the alien agenda. The continuing question in this last email was, And I think you may have answered it. Do you think they'll take billions of the human population out? And they also want to know, would they replace us with transgenic beings? Will there be human replacement or just harvesting us for food?
I don't believe this grey reptilian agenda will come about, personally. I don't believe it's in God's plan.
Okay, so are you saying that God has a plan with the aliens, and if so, why would he allow aliens to carry out any kind of work on the planet? Is he judging the planet by allowing aliens to harvest us and to experiment on us? I mean, surely God knows what's going on.
I don't believe that, Daniel. I believe God has given every being in this universe free will. And I believe these grey reptilian beings abuse their free will.
Well,
I don't believe God is judging us.
Well, that brings me to this then. Did God create the aliens? Or did the devil create them? Who created the aliens?
I mean, that's a deep philosophical question there.
Give it a go, mate.
You
can do it off. You can tell us off the record, I suppose.
I believe God created every being. I believe beings fell. Beings fell from grace because of, as I say, the wrong use of free will. Really?
Well, wouldn't that make them sort of in the demonic camp there?
Well, I believe as the Bible talks about demons, I believe much of that is referring to the reptilians and the greys. You've got to understand, Daniel, they've been here for a long time.
Uh-huh.
So,
I think that question was asked in the first hour, the question is continuing to come in. I guess people don't have an understanding. Are you saying that some of the aliens are indeed the fallen angels, and they're just getting mixed up with the external type of aliens that are flying around in craft?
Well, I believe this is the case. I mean, the evidence suggests they've been here for millions of years, Daniel. Phil Schneider was a geologist, and he had rock specimens over 1 million years old, which he showed, absolute priceless artifacts that he showed on the lectures. One of these rocks, fossil, had a machine part fossilized into the rock. Now this rock was over 1 million years old. Who's using machines on this planet 1 million years ago?
No, the monkeys?
Exactly. He's also got another rock, fossilized rock, where a laser has cut the rock in half. Again, 1 million years old. You know, these ETs have been here a long time. This planet is on ancient space trade routes, and it's had aliens moving back and forth on this planet for millions of years. There's been wars, ET wars fought on this planet. The deserts that we've got on this planet, a lot of those are from ET wars, nuclear explosions.
Okay, so you're saying that the deserts came out of the fact that there were wars and nukes were being set off. Wouldn't there be any sort of radiation residue left there in the desert areas?
Well, I think this was a long time ago, Daniel.
Okay,
so ET wars happened.
Okay. All right.
I think the radiation would have dispersed.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get to some of these other questions. Oh, by the way, on the Edge's website, we actually have some of the early religious artwork and some from other earlier civilizations that tend to show UFOs in their artwork. Is it because back then UFOs were part of the normal part of everyday life? And if so, do they go into hiding now?
Like I say, I think this has been part of humanity since day one.
Okay, would day one be considered Adam and Eve Day or no?
Could be. I don't know.
So there could have been an alien in the Garden of Eden.
There could have been.
Well, we've never shied away from outlandish speculation here on the Edge Radio broadcast. Hey, we're going to go to our 10 o'clock break as some of our affiliate stations log off. Some of them may continue to broadcast the program the way it works. Of course, they would log on to the site and they upload it on their servers. But worldwide, those listening on the Internet will remain connected. So